underprivileged students. The regional industrial skilling hubs under State House is an impeccable idea, Your Excellency. However, the youth leaders here want to be involved in making strategic decisions in these skilling hubs. They also salute the work of the Minister for Education and Sports in supporting their initiatives, and they hope to host you at the UNSA Council in December this year, since you are their patron. The Youth Councillors, Your Excellency, appreciate the inclusion of a youth representative in the Parish Development Model Committee at the parish level. However, the youth leaders seek for direct and deliberate involvement in data collection, monitoring, and evaluation. They also demand that the 30% that is ring-fenced should be on the funds, not membership in the circles. And the need to institutionalize availing water to boost production in the wake of the erratic rains and other climate change challenges. Further, these young people also request that we consider reinstating the Youth Livelihood Program, since the post-COVID era was characterized by startup business collapse, high teenage motherhood, and high commodity prices, which caused economic hardships for our young people. And the large youth population has given a lot of competition for affordable and accessible financing. This will enable us to tap into our status as the most entrepreneurial country in the world. The youth also pray that the excellent presidential youth development initiatives also consider generally availing means of transportation like motorcycles for facilitating their work, and heifers, especially for the youth councillors that missed. This will encourage economic empowerment, and also they request that State House scholarships also be availed for the underprivileged youth leaders present. Finally, the youth in some political party structures, especially the NRM who are here present, appreciate your steadfast and dynamic leadership, and the request for a meeting with you, but also a training of all youth structures of Uganda, the National Youth Council, the Youth Councillors, UNSA, at the Nali National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi, particularly on the parish development model and also on ideology to progress the Pan-African agenda for prosperity and strategic security for Africa. Their memos are here present, and the Minister for Gender also has them. God bless the President of Uganda, and God bless the youth of Uganda.
The youth of Uganda, can you clap better than that? Thank you, thank you. That is Honorable Okot Boniface, Youth Member of Parliament, Northern Uganda. Your Excellency, sir, permit me now invite the Chairperson, National Youth Council of Uganda, Mr. Jacobo Eyeru, to come and make a statement. Mr. Jacobo Eyeru.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellency, the Vice President, the Cabinet Ministers and State Ministers here present, the Honorable Members of Parliament, and Honorable Members, there is something I learned, that Honorable Mao is a Member of Parliament by oath. Honorable Mao, we are very happy to see you, and all youth leaders here present. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, as you can hear, the youth leaders are unhappy. Their unhappiness is starting from the fact that they do not meet you. So before I even start on the theme and the issues, I want to request Your Excellency in your busy schedule, in the demographic of this country. I already shared this with the PPS. I shared it with the Cabinet Minister, the Minister of State for Youth. Your Excellency, please find in your schedule every quarter to meet youth leaders of districts for at least half a day in every quarter. Why is this important? Youth councillors, youth council, 9 executive members, municipality leaders, UNSA leaders, they just see the president on TV. And so, I request Your Excellency, you are very generous. Meet them for half a day every quarter. We can work on whether you start regionally or you start nationally. In your capacity, Your Excellency, meet them every quarter. And this financial year has just started, so we can start with this first quarter. You meet one region, you go to the next one, you meet the next region, and we proceed. Because youth leaders are saying, the chairperson of the National Youth Council and these MPs access you, but they don't access you. And yet they lead the majority of the country. So I request you, Your Excellency, please find in your schedule and meet them. I thank you. The theme of this International Youth Day being held in Acholi sub-region, Gulu City, where we are holding in Acholi for the very first time in the history of this country, is intergenerational solidarity, the role of the youth in the success of the parish development model. Your Excellency, it was the youth who were the first to appreciate the parish development model. They were the first to welcome it when it was announced. They were the first to be sacrificed, I must add. The Youth Livelihood Program was not recapitalized. We accepted because we were waiting for the guidance of His Excellency. The guidance we received was that the money was being collected to be put in the parish development model so that youth can access 30%. We did the mathematics, and indeed it was true. When we get 30% in the financial services pillar and financial inclusion pillar itself, we get up to 300 billion of the intended 100 million per parish. But when it came to now explaining to the youth, they did not see that money in the guidelines. They did not see that money in the speeches. They did not even see their role in the coordination committees beyond the parish development level. Your Excellency, I want to request, why Honorable Court has spoken about the Youth Livelihood Program here is because it is not clear whether youth are getting from the PDM or they are not getting. We don't know whether they are going to get as youth groups and youth enterprises, they are 30%, or it is like it is in the guidelines that they are going to be 30% of the composition of an enterprise group. The youth are very unhappy about that, and they want Your Excellency's voice to be clear on that matter. Your Excellency, there are 7 pillars in the parish development model, and the youth are excited about all of them. But key among them, number 1, mindset change. We have faced a challenge in this country where when youth groups get some finances, they share the money instead of investing the money. That is not a problem of being young. It's a problem of thinking right. And we want to help Your Excellency as youth leaders in achieving the pillar of mindset change. We want Your Excellency to direct RDCs to give part of airtime in the district to youth leaders at the district to talk to fellow youth. Your Excellency, the youth want to talk to the youth. They do not like the idea that when government is going to preach to the masses, they send ministers, they send big people. Youth leaders want to be voices to the youth. And I request you to empower them to be able to do that. Your Excellency, on the social services pillar, the National Youth Council is already working with the Ministry of Health to contribute to the framework that they are concluding for the implementation of a social services pillar. Why? Number one, during this pandemic period, the prevalence rate of HIV has gone higher among the youth to now 10.8%. Your Excellency, we the youth have interacted at the National Youth Council level. We have interacted at the youth councillor level with NGOs to support sensitization that is immediately necessary. The gains that Your Excellency's leadership has had on fighting the AIDS scourge for the last so many years cannot be lost because of the lack of the involvement of youth voices to help in such issues. So we want to request the integration, and by integration, Your Excellency, we mean full integration. The parish committee has a parish youth chairperson. The district committee and coordination committee should have the district youth leadership represented. At national level, we should see youth leaders at coordination level. I have shared with Honorable Galabuzi these matters, but Your Excellency's directives are always supreme. Your Excellency, we have worked with institutions like the Uganda AIDS Commission, UNFPA, to try and speak to the youth, but we need your support to be able to achieve many of those things. Now, Your Excellency, to a matter that enables our capacity, the funding of special interest groups in this country. Your Excellency, in 2012, there were less than 135 districts in Uganda. The social sector development grant was approved as 7 billion shillings to support women at the district structure, youth at the district, the disabled persons at the district, and the new interest group, which is your constituency, Your Excellency, the elders. When they increased the districts, the implication was that the National Youth Council became constituted of a membership of 3 times the new number of districts. The Youth Council has also increased. Parliament increased, and funding in Parliament increased. But the social sector development grant, which helps the district youth councils to operate, and these people operate on no salary, did not increase. It was instead divided into more districts. You now find a district like Kasese of 44 sub-counties having a mandatory requirement to meet quarterly, but when they are supposed to only use 1 million in that quarterly meeting. From 23 sub-counties to 44 without increasing the amount, but increasing the number who should use the amount. That, Your Excellency, is unfortunate. We are requesting, Your Excellency, please help us. Let them double this social sector grant from 7 billion to 15 billion. So that district capacity is double. But Your Excellency, there is one other thing. The National Youth Council is supposed to hold a mandatory meeting annually. We tried to hold this meeting yesterday after disturbing the peace of His Excellency. Your Excellency, you have been very generous. You have funded that sitting for the last 4 consecutive years. But why should we disturb the peace of the Commander-in-Chief, the head of state, the fountain of honor? Instead of appreciating your words, we have to come and first beg, plead every year so that we can have a meeting to recognize and appreciate the progress the NRM government has made for the youth of Uganda. We request, Your Excellency, just have a directive. The National Youth Council budget should be met and high to facilitate this sitting, because every year the youth leadership sits first in disappointment, then they hear news, we wait for news until it comes,
then we don't know whether it's enough or it's unhappy. We want to fix an amount that facilitates that meeting. They agree in the council meeting, they agree on the amount for future councils, and that amount is in their budget and it is protected from budget cuts. Your Excellency, we thank you. Our budget was increased to 4 billion from 2 billion, but in the first quarter, we received only 670 million, of which 130 million is wage. So you have only 540 million. Before it was increased, we would receive 500 million. Now, Your Excellency, the youth leaders expected us to do more with the budget increment. But, in fact, in the quarter, the increment is 40 million. It is not the 500 million that is actually said. That's why we are saying, let us have our funds protected. They are not many. And that brings me to the next issue, which is the merging of government parastatals and agencies. Your Excellency, the Youth Council supports the merging of all agencies that will save money, but not agencies whose merging kills the democratic progress that you have groomed since the liberation struggle. Merging the National Youth Council with the Women's Council, the Children's Council into one authority is something you were against last year in your speech, but we see it continuing in the corridors of Parliament, in the speeches of the Ministry of Public Service. It is like saying, let us merge the armed forces. We merge the police, we merge them with the UPDF, and we merge them with the prisons because they are all armed forces. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that, Your Excellency. We do not agree. And we agree with your wisdom last year. The place and body which merges the issues of the country is the Parliament of Uganda. There we have all alternatives and they are already merged. The matter of trying to create a Ministry of Fisheries, Agriculture and Animal Husbandry cannot fit in special interest groups. Special interest groups are already special interests. So we will support Your Excellency's voice on that matter. It must not be merged, but Your Excellency, I think some people are not listening to your speeches lately. We want you to say it again here so that it is loud and clear. Your Excellency, I'm moving towards the close. You know we see you once a year, so there are a couple of issues that only you can address. Now, Your Excellency, you have been speaking to the youth about wealth creation and you wanted youth leaders to be among those that are demonstrating the wealth creation. And you pledged to these youth leaders heifers. Your Excellency, we want to report to you that you pledged that 9 district youth executive members should get heifers, 2 youth councillors should get heifers, 9 municipality members should get heifers, and 2 municipality councillors. Your Excellency, what we got from NADS in that financial year was 540 acres, heifers. It could only give 3 per district. It could not give the 2,232 youth leaders who are supposed to get. We know the budget constraint, it is high. So we request Your Excellency, you reassure all the youth leaders here, because they have been asking, how can Eyeru's leadership not honor the president's word? You are giving only 3, yet the president said all. What kind of leader is Eyeru? What kind of leader are these national youth leaders? Some even thought I had stolen them and taken them to my farm because they were just 540. They have not yet seen photos of me with you, Your Excellency, in your farm, so I cannot probably have such a farm. But Your Excellency, we request you, please let us start fulfilling this year. We can give out another 700 this year. We give out another 400 next year so that we don't have budget pressure, but we fulfill the vision of Your Excellency. Your Excellency, last year you asked myself and this team, what are we going to do about UPE and USE? And you asked us very clearly, do we support what you always say, education for a few or education for all, the mass line? I want to tell you, Your Excellency, without a shade of doubt, we fully endorse and support the idea of free education for all and the addition of the word compulsory. Why? Number one, Your Excellency's ideas of wealth creation must be appreciated in what Your Excellency calls math, echibalo. Ma, if you speak Acholi here, chura in Acholi. Your Excellency, we support literacy to be able to amplify and accelerate the benefit of the parish development model. When the 4-acre model is utilized, they must be able to actually calculate what is profit and pay back the revolving fund. That can only be achieved through compulsory primary education, compulsory secondary education, and the youth leaders will be the vanguards of preaching that compulsory education. So we support you. We had you tell Parliament at the budget reading that they should find money in the future. Your Excellency, we shall be your eye. We will see where Parliament will be putting money and ask them where His Excellency's vision is in that money. So that if Parliament is increasing their salary, we want to see what they are increasing for the young people of Uganda to be able to be educated. Your Excellency, as I conclude, I need to acknowledge and appreciate you. You are very good at fulfilling pledges, but there is a pledge that I need to appreciate you for saying and wait to appreciate you for fulfilling. The youth leaders at the district level have been receiving motorcycles from your leadership to coordinate programs and monitor youth inclusion and programs at the district. Last year, you promised that we'll buy the motorcycles, and I told them the president is a very sincere man. The president is the fountain of honor. You will get your motorcycles. 210 of them, they need motorcycles because the last time they got them have gone beyond the government permissible time of using. The cities are there, there are new districts. The youth are walking on their legs in their districts to preach the good message of the NRM. Your Excellency, we request you to be able to actually fulfill this so that they can work. Your Excellency, we also acknowledge and appreciate your eye for people who have been groomed through the youth structure. Recently, you appointed the government chief whip, our good friend of the young people, Honorable Hamson Obua, and he's here. Honorable Hamson Obua was the Secretary of Finance of the National Youth Council. And I don't know if it is coincidence, he comes from the same district with the current Secretary of Finance, the district of Aleptom. So Your Excellency, we appreciate you for acknowledging the role the National Youth Council plays in grooming leadership. And we request you to be able to always look at how we can support some of them to develop. We appreciate you for the appointments of those that are RDCs. They may not all be appointed, but the few that are appointed represent your eye in appreciating the role the structures play. There were 4 that were appointed. They served for only 6 months and they were dropped. Your Excellency, I raised the matter with the Minister for the Presidency, our loving mother, Honorable Babalanda. She said they will be considered for something like that can sustain their salary, because they were now a symbol of the message of the NRM of supporting NRM youth and national youth to be able to elevate themselves. So I request you that at an appropriate time, look at these 4 people and the many other RCCs, RDCs that were dropped when they were very young and served for only 6 months. Please consider, I am not requesting for these people, I'm not requesting for more immediately. I'm saying at least let those 4 find a placement so that their families can rejoice in the capacity of His Excellency to continue them. And my final point, Your Excellency, is a small one. The issue that Honorable Okota has touched very briefly. The NRM has had a principle of appreciating youth leaders. The NRM has always had the principle of ensuring that youth structures are present and functional. I stood on the ticket of the NRM. I stand here based on the success story of the NRM to provide UPE, which I attended, and USE. I stand here based on the success story of the NRM and the president to listen to voices of young people. Your Excellency, the NRM youth who are here request that the Youth League elections happen because they feel that the current Youth League has served for a long time and the youth voice that is still young is not in sec. The youth voice there has led us very well. But a time comes when the youth voice, because the youth are limited by age, Your Excellency, these are constitutional matters. They are beyond us. So now, in 3 years when my term elapses, I will not be allowed to run for chairperson of the Youth Council because I'll be above 30. So we pray that SEC can honor that and also ensure that special interest groups elections happen. Let the NRM Youth League election happen this year. We rejuvenate the structure and watch us on the 26th of January next year if we do not march in all cities of this country in honor of the work and commemoration of what His Excellency's vision has done to this country as the youth of Uganda. I thank you and I appreciate Your Excellency for especially the skilling hubs at the regional level. Those ones, Honorable Court has spoken about them. I have met the coordinators. We have agreed that they will incorporate and train district youth leaders to carry the gospel of why skilling is an important part of the work of His Excellency. Your Excellency, I could say many more things, but you should speak to your own, the young people of Uganda. We love you, we appreciate you, and we look forward to your messages of good tidings today. Thank you, and may God bless the spirit of the NRM. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, National Youth Council, with your executive. Your Excellency, the National Youth Council always gives you firebrand politicians. We gave you Honorable Richard Tadwong, we gave you Honorable Rose Namayanja, we have given you Honorable Dennis Hamson Obua, we gave you Honorable Peter Ogwang, we gave you Right Honorable Dan Kidega, among others. All these are powerful politicians, and the youth councils have been true nursery beds for nurturing the younger leaders for this country. For this, we appreciate you, and we request, like the young people have, that we do more funding to make sure that the youth councils can execute their job, their work, their mandate without a lot of problems. Your Excellency, sir, you have taught us the spirit of partnership, and in this function, we built a concrete partnership with the NITA, National Information Technology Authority, Uganda, and permit me, Your Excellency, to invite the Executive Director, NITA, Dr. Hatrib Mugasa, to make a few remarks about what you are about to launch. Dr. Hatrib Mugasa.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellencies, the Prime Ministers, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, the Minister of Gender, and all Cabinet Ministers. Protocol observed. Your Excellency, today we're happy to launch
the Regional Communication Infrastructure Project. We are launching it to the people of Uganda to utilize. The Regional Communication Infrastructure Project came with very simple objectives. There were two objectives, the main objectives. One, lower the cost of internet to enable business and productivity. Two, extend connectivity to the regions. Your Excellency, today we're happy to announce that we have achieved our objectives. Your Excellency, one of the key objectives, and I would say the success story, was the extension of the fiber optic infrastructure / e-government infrastructure. Why is it a success story? Your Excellency, there were 600 government offices that were connected in 2020. Way to clap. There were 600 government offices that were connected in 2020. Through RCIP, we were able to connect an additional 1,200 government offices. That is in a span of 2 years. 600 from the time NITA was operationalized. That's 10 years ago. In 2 years only, we were able to double those connections because of RCIP. Your Excellency, we didn't stop at that. We improved efficiency in government offices. Today, we have seen a couple of them that demonstrated the efficiency, but what made this possible was RCIP and the way we deployed solutions. We have so many government systems in isolation. They are running in silo. If you need information from, let's say, Office A, it's not the only office that you will need to get information to be served by government. You have to run to another office. You have to run to about 3 or 4 other offices to get a government service. Through RCIP, we were able to integrate these systems. But we are not only integrating government systems, we also integrated banks. And all banks are now integrated to the national register. Every bank account must be validated, and it has improved efficiency even in the private sector. Your Excellency, we also went green. We are not going to wait for technology to catch up. We need to move fast. Technology in 2 years always switches, but we are challenged with the problem of power. So we transformed all our transmission sites to solar. We no longer rely on energy. So our transmission sites can operate even if there's no power in Uganda. So we will have internet if there's no electricity. We still have internet. Through RCIP, we were able to expand on the cloud service. A cloud service is where all these systems are stored. As I explained, Your Excellency, we have so many government agencies and offices that host systems in isolation, but those systems need maintenance, and that maintenance is costly. An average system in government will cost the government of Uganda $500,000 per year in recurring costs. This is electricity, licenses, cooling, because these machines are very hot, they need to be cooled, and even rent. Through RCIP, we were able to consolidate those systems into one location, the National Data Center. And each system now costs $10,000 per year. We were able to save $93 million in 1 year for 190 systems that we hosted at the National Data Center. Your Excellency, the Bazukuru did not stop there. We are now developing systems for the government of Uganda. On Friday, the National Youth Council told us they would like to connect to government digitally. We developed their system, the Youth Connect system. We were to launch it, but probably because of time, we were not able to display it at the exhibition site. But within 3 days, our Bazukuru of NITA developed a system for the Youth Connect, also for the Youth Council called Youth Connect, and now they can share their concern. They can send their concerns to government digitally. We don't have to wait for a meeting, or no, we can connect real time, anytime with the youth. And that is the capacity of our country, Your Excellency. We have skilled capacity in ICT. We should not procure systems, yet we have youth who are unemployed. Your Excellency, we graduate more than, in ICT, more than 1,000 youth. They are on the road, in the streets. None of them are employed in ICT. None of them get jobs in ICT. Why? Why don't we have trust in our people? Your Excellency, I request through a directive, any government procurement for systems must be by the youth and the Bazukuru through the National IT Authority, and we shall be employing our ICT youth. Thank you. Your Excellency, to end my speech, I would like to recognize the support from the development partners. This project would not have been an achievement as it was if it wasn't from the support from our development partners, the World Bank, here represented by the country manager, Ms. Mukami. I would like to request to stand up to be recognized. Ms. Mukami is our World Bank country manager. And another team, Your Excellency, that I need recognition, the Bazukuru of NITA. Can you stand up? An honorable joke. Your Excellency, these people work. These people are hardworking. Sorry to be emotional. I would like to, yes, you can sit down. When COVID hit us and you directed money should be sent through digital systems, the Bazukuru developed the system in 3 days. Honorable Amongi can attest to it. In 3 days, the system was ready, connected to all the 500 recipients of the COVID Relief Fund. In 3 days, Uganda, the Bazukuru can develop systems. Why can't we develop other systems? This was a big system sending money to 500,000 vulnerable people in the villages. So we have capacity, Your Excellency. We need to utilize this chance and bring our youth into the employment sector. And technology will bring them in very easily. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, the Executive Director, NITA Uganda, for that powerful statement. Your Excellency, you have emphasized time and again that digitalization is the way to go. They thank NITA for doing a good job. We thank you and we pray that you continue doing a good job. Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, the Vice President, and Honorable Ministers, we work in cooperation with the UN systems. And the US systems have done a lot to contribute towards the socio-economic transformation of this country. May you permit me, Your Excellency, to invite Her Excellency Susan Namondo, the United Nations Resident Coordinator, to come and make a statement on behalf of all the UN agencies in Uganda. Your Excellency Susan Namondo, you are welcome to come and speak to us. The theme, once again, for purposes of record, is intergeneration solidarity, the role of the youth in the implementation of the parish development model. Yes, we can do a lot if we cement the relationship, if we see clear channels through which the young people relate with the older people. And I've already hinted on the issue of the fireplace of the old, where the young and the old would sit around the fireplace and share the norms and values of their communities. Excellency Susan Namondo, you have the floor.
Thank you very much to Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, honorable ministers, honorable members of parliament, district leaders, religious and cultural leaders, development partners, with a special mention to our World Bank country manager and my own UN colleagues who are here in their numbers, and perhaps most importantly, the youth who we are celebrating today. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm greeting to all. On behalf of the United Nations system in Uganda, I'm very happy to be here today as we commemorate International Youth Day. I thank the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development for inviting the United Nations to be part of this event, of the theme of which we have been told, intergenerational solidarity, the role of youth in the implementation of the parish development model. I would like to highlight a few challenges concerning young people, some of which have been mentioned already, that we're all concerned about. The first area is employment. That has come out very clearly. With a population close to 80% under 30, of which 700,000 enter the job market every year to compete for 238,000 jobs available, all stakeholders, all of us must be investing in developing an ecosystem that can better support young people to make their own jobs. We applaud the government for the regulatory measures and innovative initiatives that have been recently implemented to stimulate and promote the social and economic transformation of young people. We've heard some of them: the Youth Venture Capital Fund, the Youth Livelihoods Program, and the Presidential Initiative on Wealth and Job Creation, MYOGA. They have played and continue to play significant roles in enabling young people to make meaningful contributions in solving Uganda's development challenges and creating livelihoods for themselves. And of course, we also see the parish development model as a potential vehicle for accelerating wealth and job creation among youth. The United Nations system has made a deliberate effort as part of its development cooperation in Uganda to accompany these efforts and invest in initiatives that empower young people through skilling, innovation, entrepreneurship. For example, there is UNCDF's support to agricultural revitalization and transformation facility. It's providing affordable finance to agribusiness SMEs and has created employment opportunities for over 20,000 young people in rural Uganda. Similarly, we have the Youth for Business, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Facility by UNDP, and it has partnered with nearly 50 youth-owned and focused enterprises in agriculture, agribusiness, and tourism to promote innovation. And of course, there are other development partners such as the World Bank and others who are also working in these areas. While the combined efforts are encouraging, there's still so much to be done to address the issue of employment. The efforts need to be coalesced, the scales need to be increased, and we need to link all of them much better. And so that we can all find better structures also to come together to support enabling policies that better nourish an ecosystem here in Uganda that enables young people to create their own jobs after they've been skilled. An ecosystem that encourages entrepreneurship more than it presently does. So that was employment. A second issue of concern I wanted to raise is, I think we'll all agree that the past several years have been globally extremely challenging. We've had the pandemic, we've had wars, we've had rising prices, we have extreme weather events. And Uganda, of course, has not been spared from these challenges. And perhaps Uganda has fared better in some of them. We had less people lose their lives, for instance, in the pandemic. And with the high prices, even though it's felt, thankfully our food security is not nearly as impacted as those of our brothers and sisters in other parts of the world. However, despite the evident efforts and development progress made over the years, Ugandan youth, and a special plug, especially the girls, are really, truly being put to the test. They are disproportionately affected by the negative effects of the pandemic. We've heard about that quite a few times. And now the situation of high prices and extreme weather events also affect them. The most vulnerable among them need better protection. We need to invest more in national social protection systems that can cushion these impacts. And perhaps understanding that the fiscal split is especially tight at this point, perhaps it is a first step is just better linking all the programs that we already have so that they can better reach, they can expand the reach that they currently have. Perhaps it's focusing on specific interventions like labor-intensive public works programs. Perhaps many different things, but I think the issue is we really have to find a way to cushion more. The figures that we have recently gotten from UBUS in terms of the impacts of the pandemic and these rising prices are very concerning. A third area I wanted to mention of concern is the area of health and education and how we move towards universal access to quality education and healthcare services for all, and also how to continuously decrease the financial burden of these services on the population. This has also been mentioned earlier. We commend the increased budget allocations for human capital development. We worry about non-communicable diseases, risky behavior, and the rates of HIV/AIDS infection among young people, especially girls. Addressing this mostly in the realm of mindset change that has already come before, helping young people develop the habits they need for a healthy and productive life. We hope we can all put better energy in these prevention activities because, as the saying goes, of course, prevention is infinitely cheaper and much better than cure. There are many other areas, of course, but we just wanted to highlight these three areas. As I conclude, I look forward to how the UN system, continuously partnering with government, can better interface with the structures that are there and all the other development partners to address these issues affecting youth. Our ideas are only as good as the planning processes and implementation mechanisms we put in place to make them manifest. And I look forward to things like program working groups that are being relooked at now and how we operationalize the infrastructure of NDP3. And of course, at the decentralized level, as has been mentioned by many others, we look towards the PDM as that vehicle that can really help bring through greater jobs, greater protection for young people, and mindset change. Mr. President, honorable members, your UN family in Uganda renews its pledge of continued commitment and partnership in supporting the national development efforts to improve the lives of young people, expand the current development progress, which is expanded, but expand it further to reach all of these young people, and so we get to Vision 2040. And we continue looking forward to your collective guidance as we embark on this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the United Nations Resident Coordinator. Can we clap better for her for a job well done, coordinating all the UN agencies in Uganda and helping us to meet our goals. Your Excellency, when Chairman Eyeru was speaking, he forgot to introduce one of their own, the Executive Secretary of the National Youth Council. May you allow me introduce to you, Your Excellency, Dr. Shafti Nasa Mukwaya, the Executive Secretary of the National Youth Council. Dr. Shafti Nasa Mukwaya, can you wave to the President? Thank you very much. Your Excellency, my team and I have worked ourselves out of the job. May I introduce my team? And then we hand over to the Director of Ceremonies for this function, Honorable Sarah Nyirabashish Mateke, Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, who is going to take us further. But before that, let me introduce my colleagues.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Colin Mugasha Babirukamu. I'm the Director for E-Government Services at the National IT Authority. I was a co-MC today, and thank you again.
Your Excellency, my name is Frank Baine, Commissioner of Prisons and Prison Spokesperson.
And Your Excellency, sir, I'm Shateka Mondo, Assistant Commissioner, Youth Affairs, Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development. With that, Your Excellency, allow me to invite my Minister, Honorable Sarah Nyirabashish Mateke, Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, to come and take over from me as Director for the rest of the program. Honorable Sarah. Just to remind you that the theme for this year's International Youth Day is intergenerational solidarity, the role of the youth in the implementation of the parish development model. We want to work together with the young people. We want to nurture them We want to work with them. We want to appreciate them. We want to guide them and work with the elders of this country to transform the country. And yes, it can be done, because we believe that if you want to move very fast, you move alone. But if you want to go very far, you move together. We have decided that we move together with the young people of the country. We also continue to strive to ensure that we harness ICT to be part of the engines of economic growth and transformation. And this can be done, and there is no return. As I've said before, can we have every adult human being here have a young person you nurture, you coach, you help guide, you act as a role model. And if we do that, the values that we cherish will not go to the dogs. If we have time with the young people, if we can have time to listen to them, yes, we can do great things in this country together. Because partnership is of essence. It takes both rain and sunshine to create a rainbow. And the world is meant for an intergenerational connectivity and not exclusivity. Can I invite the Minister to take over?
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellency, the Vice President, honorable members, honorable ministers of Cabinet who are here, honorable members of Parliament, the UN fraternity, all technical officers, Gulu City and District leadership, religious and cultural leaders, the Chairperson, National Youth Council, the National Youth Council members and your Executive Committee, the District Youth Councillors and the NRM Youth League, UNSA, the Youth Fraternity, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to this International Youth Day celebrations, and we are grateful that despite your extreme busy schedules, you have created time to always be with the youth. Your Excellency, as we come here to celebrate the International Youth Day, we are supposed to be taking stock of the different interventions that we have put in place to empower the youth. I will not talk much because the weather is changing and the time is not on our side. Your Excellency, while you hear your youth making noise, the chairman already said it. For the last 1 year, they have always insisted that they want to meet you, and we request that you create time and meet the youth. Your Excellency, we believe government has created an enabling environment that promotes economic empowerment and increased youth participation in the development process. Efforts are being made by government, and we believe that the youth playing a very key role will be able to achieve. Your Excellency, I call upon all stakeholders in youth development, private sector, development partners to synergize their efforts in supporting and delivering as one in Uganda on issues regarding the youth now and in the future. Let me take this opportunity, Your Excellency, to welcome the Minister of ICT, Honorable Baryomunsi Chris, to come and address us briefly, as the Senior Minister of Gender also comes in after him. Thank you, and I wish you good celebrations for God and my country.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Commander of the Command-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and Chairman NRM, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Your Excellency, the Vice President of Uganda, retired Major Honorable Jessica Alupo, my colleagues, the Honorable Ministers and Members of Parliament, the development partners represented here, the leadership of Gulu district and city, religious and cultural leaders, all the leaders of young people present here, and all the young people, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Bariomonsi. I am the Minister responsible for Information, Communications Technology and National Guidance, and also the Vice Chairperson NRM Western Uganda and the MP Chinchizi Kanungu District. Your Excellency, in the interest of time and weather, I will not read the entire speech which I had prepared, but permit me to make a few comments, and I invite my colleague, the Honorable Minister of Gender. Your Excellency, I add my voice to welcome you and all the dignitaries who are here present. This is a twin ceremony where we invited you to come and commission the regional ICT infrastructure and e-government services, and we have taken you through the exhibition. I am sure you have appreciated part of the work that we do, but also the Ministry of Gender had also invited you for the International Youth Day, and we want to thank you for finding time to come and be with us. The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, together with NITAU and the Ministry of Gender. In any case, issues of young people and issues of technology speak together. Your Excellency, our ministry is in charge of facilitating digital transformation in this country. And we want to assure you that we are doing all it takes to ensure that Uganda remains part of the transition of the revolution as we embrace technology. And there are many interventions that we are spearheading, some of which have been exhibited there in the tents. Your Excellency, the adoption and use of ICT in the public service delivery is part of the big vision of the NRM government in transforming Uganda into a knowledge-based economy. And this is to be achieved through establishment of a conducive policy, legal and institutional reforms, as well as investing in key public infrastructure. We've been doing a lot of interventions, including laying the national backbone infrastructure to ensure that the whole country can enjoy connectivity and have access to internet. Your Excellency, one of the issues that the public asks us is about the cost of internet. And I want to report to you, Your Excellency, that the government of Uganda, with your leadership, has been handling the issue of the cost of internet, and it has fallen from $1,200 US in 2013. We measure the cost of internet as dollars per megabit per second. So it has fallen from 1,200 in 2013 to 300 in 2014 to 190 in 2017, and currently the cost of internet is United States dollars 70 per megabyte per second. And Your Excellency, you are going to commission the regional ICT infrastructure and e-services program that we have worked on in partnership with the World Bank. And the moment you commission the program, the cost of internet will thereafter reduced to $35 US. Your Excellency, you have given us instructions to create an environment where young people shall have jobs. We are working very hard to create a BPO environment to process the business process outsourcing, where our young people shall continue to be enabled to have jobs both here domestically but also outside this country. We are supporting investors who are developing IT parks. We are engaging organizations and agencies outside Uganda to employ young people even when they are physically in Uganda, and many other interventions, Your Excellency. Finally, Your Excellency, we want to appreciate you for the love that you have for the young people of this country. Your Excellency, when you assumed the leadership of this country, the population of Uganda was about 14 million Ugandans. The population has since increased by more than 3 times. Next year, we shall carry out a housing and population census to establish the exact number. But this is because the population has continued to increase because of child health programs that you specifically initiated that have resulted in child survival. The children who are born today survive, unlike in the past when they would die of childhood diseases. You have also championed transformational interventions that have improved the quality of life of the young people, and therefore want to salute you as you mark this day. And what we need to do as a government, as a country, is to continue to invest in the young people who are the majority in this country, so that they become part of the economy, part of production, and we continue to improve their quality of life. For us, as your soldiers in the area of ICT, we pledge to do whatever it takes to ensure that technology and ICT continue to facilitate the socio-economic transformation of Ugandans, particularly the younger people of this country. And I wind up, I invite the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development to take a walk so that he can take it up from there. But Your Excellency, we thank you and we encourage Ugandans to embrace technology, to embrace ICT, because that is the way to go. Your Excellency, in the remarks of the chairperson of the National Youth Council, he requested you to give a directive to allow the RDCs to work with younger people to use the airtime on the radios and TVs. I just wanted to give information that as a ministry responsible for information, we made it a licensing condition for all media houses, televisions and radios to provide airtime for government, and we authorized the RDCs to coordinate the use of that airtime. So the young people, there is nothing which stops you from using that airtime to communicate issues of the youth and how government is supporting you. But as the President responds in the affirmative, I will also give a ministerial directive to RDCs to make sure that they work with the young people to utilize that time together with the other government officials in the districts and also the other media houses in the country. In other words, the young people want to assure you that we shall facilitate you to use that time together with other government officials to communicate matters of the young people. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and I once again want to thank everybody who has come to grace this occasion. Thank you very much.
Right! Go soup! Go punip! Willie Regesa.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellency, the Vice President, Honorable Ministers, Members of Parliament, Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, and the UN Fraternity, the Chairperson of the National Youth Council, the Youth Fraternity, the National Youth Council, the Council of the LC5 Youth, NRM League, the UNSAs that are here, honorable members from the Greater Gulu Municipality, Greater Gulu City, Greater Gulu District. I want to start, Your Excellency, by thanking you and all Ugandans for accepting the invitation to come personally, Your Excellency, to grace this International Youth Day in Gulu amidst your tight schedule. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I would also like, Your Excellency, to thank you for financing and supporting the National Youth Council to be here, to supporting the district youth councillors, the NRM youth leagues, and the UNSAs who are here, Your Excellency. Without your financial support, it would have been very difficult for them to be here. I want to thank you for that financial support. Your Excellency, this year we celebrate this day as the first time we are getting out of Kampala. All our international days have been in Kampala, Kololo Ceremonial Ground, because of COVID-19. But this year, beginning with International Youth Day, we have come to Gulu, and we hope that other International Youth Day will go to other districts outside as a rotational basis, as we have always done. The theme for this year has been alluded to: intergenerational solidarity, the role of youth in the implementation of parish development model. Your Excellency, this theme corresponds with the need to raise awareness among the youth and highlight the key roles the youth will play in the implementation of the parish development model. And Your Excellency, I want to reaffirm what Cabinet under your chair has already agreed in respect to what the youth will benefit under the parish development model, because the chairperson of the National Youth Council raised certain questions. I want to affirm, Your Excellency, that number one, Cabinet has agreed that the 30% is not the structure, the representation of the youth in the structure. It is the money, the 30% of the funds out of the 100 million, 30% of the money is reserved for youth at parish level. Meaning out of the 100 million, 30 million is reserved to be accessed by youth. So that is the clear clarification on that matter. And in that context, Your Excellency, that already translates to 328.620 billion if you multiply by 10,954 parishes. That is the money that the youth will be accessing at the parish level. Of course, Your Excellency, Cabinet also decided that the youth shall be represented in the Parish Development Committee. So at the Parish Development Committee, all chairpersons of the youth at the parish level are supposed to be members of the Parish Development Committee that is supposed to oversee and ensure that implementation of the 30% of the youth is actualized. So the battle and everything now is in the hands of the youth. We will, as Ministry of Gender, work hard to make sure that we allocate and lobby for money to support the youth at the district level, to support the youth at the parish level, to monitor and make sure that the youth are represented in the enterprises, but also that the youth are accessing their 30% of the money. That is the Lubengo, Your Excellency, that we have as a ministry and with the cabinet to make sure that we allocate money for them to implement. Your Excellency, I also want to reaffirm to the youth that when it came to the issue of the structure of merging, you were the first to say, and youth, I want to report that His Excellency, when it came to merger, he said that no, the groups, the special interest groups are different democratic elected entities that cannot be merged. And public service clarified in the cabinet that what they are merging is the secretariat, which they propose to cabinet, one secretariat for the youth, for the women, for the persons with disability and older persons, having one secretariat with departments, but not the structure that are elected. So probably if we want to lobby, let us talk about the secretariat, not the structure. The structure of all special interest groups have not been merged. So, Your Excellency, I wanted to at least, since I sit in a cabinet with you, to let the youth know that you were the first person, and I know the Vice President was the one chairing that session, and you explained and cabinet agreed that the special interest groups will not be merged. Your Excellency, because of time and because of weather, I had a speech which I cannot read now. I only want to request that in the context of our theme for today, it is critical that as youth, as women, as persons with disability, as older persons, the theme of intergenerational solidarity, the role of youth in parish development model, is critical for us to collaborate across the generation. And parish development model is an embodiment of intergenerational solidarity. Because within the parish development model, we have 30% for the youth. We have 30% for women. We have 10% for older persons. We have 10% for persons with disability. And we have 20% for the men that are in between the age of 35 and 80. So you can see that parish development model has addressed the intergenerational solidarity. Therefore, it is now our role to ensure that we collaborate in the implementation of the parish development model, and we use this year's theme to ensure that we define our gender as a generation, especially the youth, that it is important to define your gender, because those who have succeeded, like His Excellency the President, are those who sacrificed. They sacrificed sometimes even without money, and they achieved what they wanted. People who brought peace, people who brought independence in Africa are youth that sacrifice. So I want to leave the youth with one key message. Let us define our gender. Let us define our gender as youth, as a generation, because the critical challenge that is facing youth now, if I'm to talk about this sub-region, Karamoja is in anger. This sub-region of Acholi, of Lango, have been asking for food in parliament. How can we be asking for food when we have such weather? How can we be talking about hunger
when we have such weather in this country. We are talking about the challenge of climate change. This is a challenge for you. We are talking about the challenge of technology. And Nita, you today has shown that we must address our challenges using technology. We are talking about the challenges of economic shock arising out of the impact of COVID-19. We are talking about the challenge of ensuring that we bring the youth at the rural level as leaders to ensure that they have meaningful participation. So I would like to request the youth, when we talk about underemployment, unemployment, labor rights, and all those challenges of the generations of the youth today, it is you, the youth, to think about the solution to your problems. Because the generation before you thought about solutions to problems, that's why we are able to sit here. Because generations behind you thought about solutions to problems. And we are seated here enjoying or not enjoying 100%. So please, this is your generation, and you should think about how you will define your shared vision and mission. With that, Your Excellency, I want to just recognize the ministers who are here, otherwise I will be in problems. I want to recognize Her Excellency, the Vice President, Major Retired Jessica Alupo. Thank you very much. Honorable Chris has already spoken. I want to recognize Honorable, they have given me without following protocol, the Cabinet Minister here, Honorable Babalanda, Minister for Presidency, Honorable Norbert Mao, Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Honorable Amson Obua, the Government Chief Whip, Honorable Grace Freedom Kuishwin, Minister of State for Northern Uganda, Honorable Musasizi, Minister for State Finance, Honorable Gidudu Dominic, Minister of State for Elderly Affairs, Honorable Asamo Ellen, Minister of State for Persons with Disability, Honorable Mutuzu Peace, Minister of State for Gender and Culture, Honorable Kabayanga, where are you? Kabyanga is there. National Guidance, I hope you are guiding us properly. Honorable Okele Ngola Mashoduogo, Minister of State for Labor. Honorable Beatrice Akelo, Minister of State for Economic Monitoring, who has just been appointed, and for members of Parliament who are there and have not, they have not given me your list. Can the members of Parliament please stand up for recognition? And with that, Your Excellency, I want to request you to, I don't know, you are supposed to launch the, but with this weather, I would request Your Excellency that you give your speech, and if weather permits, then we can, just as you get out, you will be able to launch the two programs. Can we give a hand of very big clap for His Excellency as he goes to give his speech? The youth, why don't you cheer for His Excellency the President?
Mwili legeza.
Her Excellency the Vice President, ministers, members of Parliament, members of the United Nations, the leaders of the youth councils and the UNSA, members of the diplomatic corps, cultural leaders, religious leaders, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad we are here at Kaunda grounds, and I'm glad it has been paved so that it doesn't have dust. I want to thank I don't know who did it. Was it the army or who did it? Yeah, but who is looking after it now? Somebody will have to be responsible for it. Secondly, this was called Kaunda Grounds because some years ago His Excellency Kaunda came and held a rally here with Mzee Obote. But in 1973, two members of Fronasa, our movement, youth, were executed here by Idi Amin. So somebody should mark that somewhere, that two youth who belonged to the Fronasa movement in 1973 were executed here. And their names were Obona, another one was called Labeja. One was coming from Atiak, and another one was coming from Awere. So this is just information for the Youth Day. The chairman of the Youth Council wanted to know why I don't grow old. It is because I don't drink alcohol. And I eat African foods. I don't eat bread. I hear you are crying for bread from Ukraine, but me, I don't eat bread because I'm not a European. I don't eat rice because I'm not an Indian. Now I do salute you, the people of Uganda, and especially the youth, whose day we have come here to commemorate as we reflect on their numerical strength and potential to be agents of fundamental change aimed at transforming the 39% of our people who are still in subsistence agriculture. Under the parish development model, our target is to upgrade these people and see them pushed into the money economy. it should be abominable for any young person to become a subsistence farmer. That must become a chapter in our political economy books, that once upon a time there are lived people who used to produce only for a chida, for the stomach. I hear people talking about jobs. Talking about jobs and wealth. I want us to be clear here and stop wasting time. The address where wealth, obugagga, lonyo, abara, they call it abara in Ateso. The address, if you say address P lonyo, P teach, T kwene, I will give you the addresses. And stop really wasting our time, because I really get tired. When I come and I hear people talking. Lock matek. Lock until I know. The addresses for wealth and jobs are the following. Number one, commercial agriculture. Everybody with a piece of land engage in commercial agriculture. And stop really wasting our time. Because in some of the meetings I may come up and become rude and say, sit down, you are talking nothing. This is address number one, commercial agriculture. If you have got land, commercial agriculture. But we have also told you, because of the experiments we have done, we have told you that you do commercial agriculture with chura, Echivaro, Aymar, Otita. Is there any language I have not covered? No, except if you are from South Sudan, which I don't know. So, address number one for wealth, because if you come to my farms at Kisozi, at Rakstura, I have lonyo, cows and crops and so on. Wealth, I have wealth there, obugagga. But I also have created jobs for a number of Ugandans, if you come there. So there's no way you can talk of jobs without lonyo. There's no teach without lonyo. I create my wealth, commercial wealth, not just wealth of eating. And in the process, I also create jobs for my children and for other Ugandans. So, number one, please, when you talk, repeat this. Don't waste time. Address number one, commercial agriculture. but a commercial agriculture with chura. Because if you have got a small piece of land, there are things you cannot do economically. We have already told you about that. If you have got 4 acres and less, this we put in the manifesto of 1996 of the NRM. But people don't listen. It was in the manifesto of 1996 because we had already analyzed this problem. So if you have got 4 acres and less, please, there are a number of things, 1, 2, 3, 4, which you can do, and you make good money. There are other crops which you cannot grow on a small scale, like maize, like cotton, like sugarcane, even tea. Those you can only make money if you do them on a big scale. So this is address number 1. These figures, you boss, I had them confusing my daughter of the UN. UN, don't use those U-boss people's figures. Because the U-boss figures are assuming sleeping. When people are still asleep, then you have a census. How many people will you count? Those figures are figures without the people waking up of the job they were giving our daughter, the UN girl. But if the people wake up, we shall create more jobs than the one they are talking about. So, address number 1, commercial agriculture with Echibaro. Address number 2, factories. Factories. If, for instance, you build somebody here, an Achori, builds a maize mill or a rice huller or a milk cooler or a cotton ginnery, it will be both lonyo, wealth for him, the builder, but it will also create jobs for the Ugandans. And you can count how many jobs will a ginnery create, how many jobs will a rice huller create, how many jobs will a maize mill create, how many, and so on. Fruit processing. Like we built a fruit processing factory in Soroti. How many jobs has it created? That one is a government law. It is wealth of the government, but it has also created jobs. So the second address of wealth and jobs, the two go together. You cannot have jobs without wealth. No. Wealth belongs either to an individual or to a cooperative or to a company, but it is lonyo, it is obugaga of somebody. So that is the second address. So please, when you go to talk about this. How many factories have we attracted here? Because the more you attract, the more wealth you will create, but also the more jobs you will create. The third address of wealth and jobs is services. You have seen hotels here, like Gulu Inn. Gulu Inn was a government hotel. We privatized it. So somebody who is running it there, it is his wealth, but it is also creating jobs. And I hear other hotels have come up here. So those hotels, that's services now. Because with the agriculture, you produce a good, a product, milk, bananas, muhogo, which I told you to eat instead of the other one. Those are goods. A factory, if you produce a bag of kawunga, of maize flour, you produce soap, that's a good. Those are goods. Agriculture gives us goods, and so do factories. But services give a service. A hotel, like I told you when a few days later, Obona and Rabeja were killed here by Amin. I would have been one of them with Kategaya if we had not got a service of accommodation by the Acholi man who owned the lodge. There's a lodge in the corner of the road coming here. There was a lodge there. So when our car knocked a ship, Kategaya was driving, when we were coming from a meeting in Awere, 1973, we were going back to Kampala, then Kategaya knocked a ship at Palenga Primary School. And the car got damaged. So we pushed it behind the teacher's house and came back to Gulu here and stayed in that lodge. He had a lodge there. So we sat there. But an informer was busy telling Yamin's people that there were bad people in the area. But for us, we were in the lodge, that lodge. So that lodge provided us a service of accommodation, but in this case also of security. Then you can have transport. Borders, they are providing services, transport, buses. The preachers, like my daughter, I didn't know that my daughter, Okiri, Jane Francis, I didn't know that she was a big preacher. So she's a service provider, that one there. She's a spiritual service provider. When you are desperate and you're about to die, you go to her and say and so on. So, medical, professional services like medical, like lawyers. Lawyers make money from people's trouble. The more people have problems, the better for the lawyers. They come the whole day in the whole court with wigs and so on, making a living out of people's problems. So that is the third sector where jobs are. The fourth one is this one of Bariomunsi and Dr. Mugasa. This is a new area. It is also a service, but because it is a new one, we treat it as we give it special emphasis. So I always present it as sector number 4. So the youth, please, all of you, which address will you go to? When you speak, don't just speak morning of Kungubaga. Where would you like to which address would you like to go to? Now, when it comes to agriculture, therefore, our goal under the PDM is to increase household incomes and improve quality of life of Ugandans with specific focus on total transformation of the subsistence households. They are now remaining 39%. There was 68% of the households which were teach, meich, keken, only working for the stomach. But because of the Operation Wealth Creation, the soldiers of General Saleh, they have helped us to bring down this from 68% to now 39%, which according to this one translates to 3.5 million households, 17.5 million people, both on farm and off-farm, in rural and urban settings, into the money economy, as well as eradication of poverty and vulnerability in Uganda. While deepening decentralization and devolution to support development and planning at the parish level, our strategy as government is to promote increased incomes through modernization of agriculture, industrialization, and expansion of the services sector. The services sector, the one I talked about, and information, communication, and technology. It is a good coincidence that on this same day, I'm commissioning the regional ICT infrastructure and e-government services. It is important for all people of Uganda to get to know and appreciate the science, technology, and innovation together with ICT, enable the acceleration of the entire economy, and this supports the digital transformation and moves towards the digital health, digital agriculture, digital manufacturing, digital cities, and others. Digital is introducing brains in systems. Electronics introduce artificial brains into machines. That's really where the, of course, when I went to, I think there's a very cold place called Davos in Switzerland. It is very cold. I went there and I found people talking. Digital, 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 digital. Of course, me, I was not impressed. And I told them, I said, which of you has eaten a computer? They just looked at one another. We are still eating food. Muhogo or matoke or the other one, the one you are crying for from Ukraine, the bread or rice. We are still eating food. We are not eating computers. And we are driving in cars. Those cars are made of steel and other materials. But the role of the electronics is to put brains in those systems. If you are processing food, the electronics will help you to measure moisture quickly. So it is an enabler. The ICT. It should also be clear to you know the problem. We have got so many confused people in the world. Something comes and we tell them, but they don't listen. In the 1960s, we had a problem, integrated rural development. How would you have integrated rural development without the towns? They wouldn't listen. And it took so much time, and then at the end of 10 years, nothing is happening. Because they are not thinking in an integrated way. So here, ICT is an enabler of the other primary industries. Agriculture will not go away. Maybe 1 million years from now, people will start eating computers. But for now, we are still eating muhogo, eating bananas, eating food, the food. But the computers are to help us be more efficient. So therefore, our goal has been and remains that of increasing the application of appropriate technology in the production and service delivery processes through the development and well-constructed STI ecosystem. Now, maybe what I can emphasize here for the youth, because I've told you about the 4 sectors: commercial agriculture, industry, services, and ICT. Now, what is crucial is that in industry, we are making big changes in sector 2. Because in the past, industry in Uganda meant mainly to do with the textiles, which means value addition. You produce cotton, you turn it into cloth. Processing maize flour, value addition to agriculture, and to a little extent to minerals like cement, producing cement and other things. But now, we are going beyond that. Within the industry, we are broadening. We are introducing the pathogenic economy, making money out of the sicknesses which we have here by making vaccines for all the diseases we have and the ones of the cows and the goats and so on, making pharmaceuticals, medicines, making diagnostics, making the ones for sanitizers. We are now big producers of sanitizers because we were already producing sanitizer which was for the waraji. You remember the waraji? We upgraded it. It's now a very big sanitizer to kill germs. So the industry is expanding. We are making vehicles, automobiles. You have heard of the Kira motors. Now this is crucial for you to understand because the global business of coffee is $460 billion. Never mind that we are still getting a very little part of it because of some confusion. But the global automobile industry, I told somebody to check on the internet, is almost $3 trillion. So you can see how Africa has been asleep. First of all, the coffee we produce we export it as a raw material. The global business of coffee is $460 billion. But all the coffee producing countries in the world get only $25 billion. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And the other day, we had arguments. Some people were arguing against our plan to add value to coffee. We're not going to accept it. $460 billion for the coffee business in the world. The whole of the third world who produce coffee get only 25 billion. That's what the youth should be talking about. The youth should be aware of this. And Africa only gets 2.5 billion of the 460 billion. And we have got professors and I don't know what. Professors of what? You don't see this? Huh? And permanent secretary also. Can you imagine? There's a permanent secretary who doesn't see this. And a commissioner, and I don't know what. It's really a disgrace. But the worth of $460 billion billion for coffee, we are getting, for us, we are getting only, Uganda is getting $800 million. And it's one of the big earners in Africa. So the Europeans are making more money from coffee than us. If you go to Switzerland and Germany are earning much more money from coffee than Uganda. In fact, than the whole of Africa, more or less. But not only that, we are earning very little money from coffee, we are earning nothing from automobiles. Vehicles, all these vehicles you have here, they are all imported. Japan, Germany, what? And the global business of automobiles is $3 trillion, where Africa is earning nothing. So Africa is earning little from coffee, little from cotton, little from minerals, nothing from automobiles. So I'm telling you that the NRM is expanding the spectrum of industry. It will not only just be value addition to all the crops, starting with the coffee. Coffee, we shall add value to coffee. Those who have been fighting our plan, we are going to fight them also. I liked the prayer of my daughter Okiri, that those who oppose us, she casts them, I don't know what. But in addition to adding value to all our raw materials, coffee, cotton, fruits, minerals, we shall also introduce the pathogenic economy, the ones of the vaccines and so on, and also the knowledge-based economy. I'm glad I saw some people there assembling computers and laptops. I saw them, they were part of the show. We are going not only to assemble, but to make the computers here. But also the vehicles, the automobiles. We are going to share in that 3 trillion. We are also going to take part of it. First of all, save our money from going out for importing second-hand and dirty vehicles from Japan, but also exporting our own products. The pikipikis, making solar-powered pikipikis. Our people are already making solar-powered pikipikis. So therefore, I want the youth really to be clear that when we talk of wealth and jobs, we are talking of the 4 sectors. I like your theme for this day, the intergenerational. But I think you can improve it. You see, some people are confusing, I've told you before, are confusing biology with ideology. Say, young people. When we were fighting Idi Amin was a young man like us. But we had differences. He was a young man thinking in the wrong way, and we were young people thinking in another way. And we had old people who were supporting us, and Idi Amin had old people who were supporting him. So what are you talking about? You know, this young. This really is ideological. You should talk about ideology. What are you saying? You are a young person saying what? The colonialists who came here were young people who came to colonize us. And Kabarega was a young man fighting them. When Kabarega and Mwanga were fighting the British, they were young people, they were not old people. So what are you talking about? Talk about ideology. You can have young people thinking with an old ideology. And you can have old people with a young ideology. So I would like the NRM people to clarify that. Now, regarding the other organizational issues, I'm glad to hear that you are supporting my policy of free education. Because I'm glad that your chairperson said you now support it. Because I am not happy with the children dropping out of school, government schools, because of charges. From 1996, I wanted really free education. No charges in the government secondary schools. But somehow it is never implemented. We call it UPE, but it's not UPE. It is education for some, not for all. USE. The Minister of Education told me they have now done a study. They will soon report. You would hear of an assault we are going to make on that. Now, as we talk about commercial agriculture, we must talk about irrigation. Because this uncertainty, which is what Minister Amongi was talking about, in northern Uganda and the whole of Uganda, how can we have a shortage of food? It's because we are not maximally using our resources. And this is going to end. We are going to introduce massively irrigation so that crops are irrigated. The other day I was at Kaumu, my farm, some 5 years ago. I started a farm at Kaumu. At that time I didn't have an irrigation system, but I carried the water in a can myself and watered the crops with a watering can. The people were laughing at me on the internet. Museveni is very stupid. Look at that old man. He's using a can. Now you go and see my coffee there. Go and see my coffee, which I watered with a can. I will put it on the internet if you don't want to go there and see it. So that you hang yourself. You hang yourself with what do they call it? Envy. What do you call envy in our language here? Nyeko. Nyeko. Is it Nyeko? Nyeko. Is it Nyeko? Envy. So I'm going to put my coffee on the internet so that those of Nyekos can kill themselves. You can irrigate. Even if you, especially if you have got a small garden, this one of 4 acres, you can get water if you don't have the motorized system. Go and use the manual and irrigate. Instead of just, we are dying because of drought. But there is water everywhere. In Uganda, there is water everywhere. Lake Victoria, water is chasing people. Because about 3-4 years ago, the lakes filled up. There was so much water that they chased people. And at the same time, we are dying because there is no rain. There's water here. Why don't you use it to irrigate? If you don't have the motorized, use the manual. I'm really not impressed by lack of seriousness. I grew coffee in a dry season at Kaumu using a can, a watering can. And the coffee is there now. I am harvesting. Now, but we are now going to be more organized and more massive. But this means that people must stop encroaching on the wetlands. Because the wetlands are the Dero Mepi. Is my actually making any sense there? You see, Lokamabel. The wetlands are the granary for the water. They are the store of the water. When I was coming here, I saw near Kamudin, some people have encroached on a swamp there, started growing rice in the swamp. Stop this. We are going to make a very big campaign, start in the coming month, to really persuade our people to leave the wetlands so that the water comes back and we use it to irrigate the land, so that we immunize ourselves against the seasons. We want to end this millennia problem of uncertainty of food. You hear it in people's names. Akech. Akech, does it not mean somebody born in hunger? You can imagine. People are using it to problems. This is Akech. And Lokech is the one who was born, is the man. Lokech is the man. It is well known. This was born in hunger. We had a minister at Independence from Chigezi called Ramafa, John Ramafa. That's what it means in our language there, Amafa. Somebody born in famine. Famine, not hunger, it is bigger than hunger. John Ramafa. So this culture must stop. I don't want, the Akechis who are there now should be the last. We don't want additional Akechis. And the answer is irrigation. And we have all the water here. Because Uganda is so lucky, you have a small hill, then there is a wetland, then another hill like that. So it's very easy for us to irrigate our country. So the two go together. Massive irrigation in Uganda means swamp reclamation. Now I'm glad the UN people are here. So if you are looking for work to do, you come and support me, UN. Support my program of swamp reclamation. The minister explained to the youth about this 30% and all that. That one is clear. We have consolidated the money at the parish because these efforts here and there, those waste time and money. I've told you about the address of Lonyo, Wealth of Gaga, and Teach, Emirimu, jobs. Now, this bureaucracy should take little money, and more money should go to wealth creation and job creation in the areas we have mentioned. But I totally agree with the youth. The money they need for advocacy at the district will be provided, because really that's not too much money. Because advocacy is preaching the gospel. It's a necessary input in mindset change. Now, there's a man called Omona. You must have heard of him. He's been charged by the youth that he has refused to organize meetings for me. Omona, you have heard. The youth are complaining. Me, I'm always meeting people of all types. It will be my pleasure to meet the youth. I have no problem at all. So if you see the meeting not coming, you go for Omona, look for him. Now, the high-fuzz for the youth leaders. I'm very glad the youth leaders are demanding Banya. These people don't know our language. Banya. The youth are saying that I have got their Banya of high-fuzz. This is a very good. The youth are saying I have got their debt. Ebanja, for their high-fuzz. I'm very glad. This is a good demand because it means you want to be productive. I will make sure you get these high-fuzz. I didn't know that you didn't get them, but you will get them because this is a very good demand. I like it. So I think we have had a good day, and our daughter, Jane Francis Okiri, succeeded in chasing the rain. It drizzled a bit, but she cast it, and although it drizzled a bit, so we have had a good day. It is now my pleasure to go and do what? Launch the other one?
Your Excellency, it's the launch of the Youth Connect Uganda chapter and the commissioning of the regional ICT infrastructure and e-governance services. And Your Excellency, the last one will be for you to receive a gift from 7 Hills. These are former young people, the gangs in Kampala streets that you hoped come together, formed the circles, and now they are making money through working with Kampala State Council. So Caroline will be there on behalf of 7 Hills to give you a gift. But let's start, Your Excellency.
So I congratulate the youth on the day today. Your problems are solvable, but be clear about our strategy. Please, be clear. Don't beat about the bush. And even when you are involved in youth leadership and so on, make sure you become part of the wealth creators. I don't want youth who are just there floating, not part of the wealth creation, because they don't understand, they will not understand what wealth creation is about if they are not part of it. So I congratulate everybody and I wish you good luck for the coming year. And congratulations from surviving the corona. Nkuruke corona. So where do we go?
So Your Excellency, we shall start with the launch of the Youth Connect Uganda chapter. And the team there is joining you for this launch and showing you where to sign.
Willie Begeza.
Youth can connect, Your Excellency. His Excellency has commissioned the regional ICT infrastructure and e-governance services. You can watch that on the different screens to see how far we have gone. He's also appending the electronic signature to signify that we are making progress, and fundamental progress at that. And this should, among others, facilitate the PDM model. You know, ICT is a facilitator for development, and we cannot do without ICT in all our endeavors in the 21st century and beyond. Now next, the President is going to launch the Youth Connect Uganda chapter. Youth Connect is designed to provide an entrepreneurship and innovational ecosystem platform for empowering young people while investing in their ideas, innovations and initiatives, and connecting them to socio-economic transformation. It is supported by UNDP, and Youth Connect Uganda will assist young entrepreneurs to get information on enterprise development and knowledge about funding and how to implement innovation. We thank you. Your Excellency, the last one is to receive the gift from Seven Hills. Caroline. Ladies and gentlemen, photo moment with the dignitaries. I can see dignitaries from World Bank. I can see dignitaries from the UN fraternity. I can see the prayer warrior, the RCC, Jenny Francis. I can see the honorable ministers. Yes. This is a moment to celebrate, a moment of departure from analog to digital. And this revolution has come and come to stay. And in memory, we take those pictures to signify that His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, has been here with us on this important International Youth Day and has had dialogue with the young people. And Your Excellency, we want to thank you for sparing time to be with us, and you have done us very proud. We thank you for your guidance, statements of wisdom. Thank you so much. And with that, I turn back to the parade. Parade. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Vice President, Honorable Ministers, UN fraternity, ministries, departments, and agencies, civil society organizations. Thank you so much. To you, the parade. Public be informed that there is cancer screening by the Cancer Institute going on free of charge, courtesy of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda. So please take advantage to do the screening. Thank you. We want to thank you and thank everybody for having spared time to come and be with us. We want to thank the media fraternity, both electronic and print. We want to thank our partners. Nita, you have done us proud this day, and we thank everybody. Parade.
Goes up. Slap God weak. Slap the rise. Ashman.